Yes, I am. Yes, yes. We are in the process actually of transferring the slides, but we did not manage. But if I can share then my screen, then that would be. I can show you some stuff. Oh yeah, because you see me. Hello everyone.
Welcome.
So perhaps I will start just with saying that I'm really sorry I cannot be there in person, although I'm pretty close to you actually, but needed to connect remotely. But what I would like to show today is the effort of volunteer scholars from all over Europe and all over the world to actually bring some help and to support students and researchers of Ukraine. Um, actually, I think I froze for a second. Okay, so that would be a good moment actually to probably share my screen if I'm allowed to do so, just to show my slides.
Yes, they're working on Maciej, they're working on it.
Ah, they're working on it. Okay. Perfect. Or I can do another thing actually, because I sent you slides. I don't know if I didn't make a mistake in the. Oh, you allow me. Okay, so perhaps that would be the easiest if you just allow me to share. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for that, I would just start with this sort of idea. We're talking about right to science today, and I'm personally in my everyday career, I'm very much invested in open science movements, in building research infrastructures for scholarly communication in Europe and beyond. And I must admit that until recently, I kind of forgot that thinking about open science also means like thinking about as you we talked today, a right to science and being um, able to do science. So basically, if we think about our colleagues in Ukraine, when we read in the history books about dissidents, we thought it's a sort of the kind of story of the past, but of course it's not only of course in Ukraine right now, but in other places. So even like that kind of reminds us about what we have and actually about what open science actually could mean about all other meanings. So I'm presenting here the initiative Science for Ukraine, and I'm a community outreach coordinator for the initiative. However, there's more of us. I'll be talking about it in a second. And it started as many great initiatives, I hope, with this kind of sudden urge of heart to support. So when Russia invaded Ukraine, we thought what we could do as scholars. And of course, what do scholars usually do? They write letters. So we started with writing a letter the open letter from our cost action, which kind of encapsulates 37 scholars from 37 European countries. So we express full support for Ukraine, but also from the very beginning we highlighted the issue of scholars who need to be supported. And we thought that this is also the way of showing our support for them, but also for keeping Ukraine the part of European research area is through sustaining their work. So we appealed for funding schemes, for securing the presence of researchers in the European research area. And one of our colleagues, who's a science of communication officer in the cost action, Sanita Reinsone from Latvia, had this great idea that when the first emails with help offers started to circulate, she had this great idea that perhaps we should have one central point to put them there so people can have access to them, because it's really hard to reach everyone via email, via all your networks. So let me start with the people, because again, everything is built on people and on their immense efforts from the very first days. As mentioned, we are a group of community volunteers, students, and researchers from various academic institutions in Europe, all over the world. And the team, as you see, there's this coordination team with Sanita leading it, with her team in Latvia. There's Alexandra Ivashchenko, who's leading Ukrainian outreach, so talking to Ukrainian institutions, researchers. And myself, I'm coordinating the outreach for the institutions beyond Ukraine to provide help and advocacy. And Michael Rose is our internal coordinator. We have, of course, people dedicated to website, and we have already 30 national coordinators. And every time I'm speaking about Science for Ukraine, and this week I spoke about it, of course, a lot. Every time I had to check the number of coordinators because it's still growing, and some coordinators are there are like 2 coordinators for the country. This all kind of shows the huge effort behind it. And it's just 12 days when we're running, actually. We have partners, organizations, institutions, companies who support Science for Ukraine in a variety of ways, and I'll be talking about it a bit more in a second. So what's our mission? So first of all, the mission is to collect, disseminate information about support opportunities for Ukrainian students and researchers affected by the invasion. And then secondly, to support them in finding and applying for such opportunities, because this is of course, the huge problem. And I know it firsthand because also in our cost action, we try to offer some small mobility funds, some small grants, and my colleague was processing them. And every time he had to kind of give a big support for applicants who, were, for instance, fleeing, so they didn't have access to their documents, or they just have some scans or pictures taken by phone. So somebody in safety in our institution had to put it all together and submit as an application. So this kind of support, really basic, is important. Also for people who don't know language too well, or never actually applied for foreign scholarships and need some guidance. Thirdly, we liaise with national and European funders and organizations to provide even more opportunities for funders. And currently, in our database, we have over 700 listings. We kind of assume that this roughly covers 2,500 positions, because every listing could be for more than one person. But it's still not enough. And we need more. And finally, this is something I mentioned earlier. We need to sustain Ukraine's presence in European research area through active scholarly collaboration. And actually, our dream is that after this invasion, we just hope that the one of the few good outcomes that could come from this situation would be that those scholarly bonds would be actually stronger. So we believe that we can at least provide that. So this is our website, and it also changes from time to time. We try to make it more interactive, try to make it better for browsing. But basically what you can see that researchers, we address 2 main groups of stakeholders for now, researchers and students. We provide, and you can search for accommodation and funding opportunities. We distinguish between several disciplines already, and they are mentioned here. So you can already filter the results on the map, but you can also browse it through the table where the detailed descriptions are based. And this is like to something to highlight that we're providing more or less. Just we're mediating. I mean, we just provide one place to collect all those information. We try to curate them, to remove them if they're too old, and if they are already, if the vacancies are already filled, etc. But we also, to the extent we is possible, try to provide the support for applicants as well. And when we speak about the right to science, and in the context of Ukraine, we can distinguish three kinds of challenges we are facing right now, and short-term, mid-term, long-term. And in Science for Ukraine, we've focused on short-term, mid-term probably, but mostly for short-term. Short-term, which is basically for now to provide this basic rights to science in the sense of securing and hosting people, for the next weeks or months, to give them some stability, to kind of enable them to apply for other positions, or to just to see what could they do right now with their careers. But also it means supporting scholars on the ground, because some scholars want to leave, some scholars can't leave, as for instance, males between 18 and 60 cannot leave Ukraine right now. And we also encourage institutions to provide, small grants, more opportunities for people to work while in Ukraine, even, collect some data, provide some whatever expertise, also to keep them active, of course, but also to give them this kind of opportunity that, apart from this those horrible times, there's like one good thing that could happen to them professionally. That's what we aim for. Secondly, midterm level, it's basically just what we think in terms of more stable employment opportunities in grants and projects that should probably follow soon, but midterm meaning months we think in more years, but that's the this distance. And then long term, of course, it's years in this sense, and it entails rebuilding higher education in Ukraine, and also by avoiding something that already some scholars are afraid of, that of course, thanks to those opportunities that support students and scholars, they may also suffer from so-called brain drain. So basically that the scholars would be lured out of Ukraine and would stay out. So we want to, of course, to avoid this lot, and we need to remember about it in the long term. So moving towards the conclusion. So how can you help? Because of course, this is the question which started our own initiative, and I know that this is a question many people in the world ask themselves every day, like looking at what's going on. So for us at this stage, the most important part is to spread the word. So basically, it's important for us that Ukrainian scholars, the students in need, know exactly where to look for information. And we know that it's still not so obvious for them to look at Science for Ukraine. So if you can, please do share, do spread the word. And secondly, let us know about new opportunities if they come. So there's a new web format placed right now, so to facilitate the process, but you can also contact national coordinator to simply push your offer, and will be available at the website for others. Then raise awareness. So talk to your organization of providing dedicated position for Ukrainian scholars and students, or to provide this whatever kind of cooperation within the grants you have with scholars already still in Ukraine. You can also become a partner, so endorse our initiative or provide help in finding data or providing resources. There are many ways, just get in touch. And finally, you can join our team. If your country is not represented in our team, you're willing to help, you can get in touch, and we will be grateful for any support. So these are these are our channels. You can check scienceforukraine.eu. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. From today, we're also on Telegram. And basically, what I wanted to conclude with is this thought I mentioned earlier, that we really hope that what emerges from this would be this strong collaboration with colleagues from Ukraine, and this is what we kind of dream of when supporting them on this really short-term basis. So thank you again for listening and inviting me to the panel. Thank you.